Now, there is one more important aspect that we need to cover before our website is really ready to go public on the internet, and that is testing. We've done a lot of testing of each one of our pages as we made changes, but most of that testing was done in one or two browsers. As we said before, we have standards for building web pages, but the browsers that we use to view those web pages on don't always adhere to all the standards. So it's important to take a look at your website and your web pages in as many browsers as possible. Currently, I have two browsers we've been using. The Firefox browser up here at the top, and I'll open up the same index page over in our Safari browser as well. As we look at the two pages side by side, we can see that for the most part we've done a pretty good job with the layout, and it looks similar on both pages. But if you happen to have a PC sitting around and you look at your website over there, you might see some differences. For instance, the font chosen might be a little bit different, and that could change the spacing and alignment of our paragraphs. If you follow the best practices that we've covered, and you build your website writing your own good code, you should be okay. But nothing takes the place of actually opening up your page in the browser and taking a look to see if everything's right. Of course, there is one other official way that we can test our pages, and that is by using one of several validation engines that are out there. And that would be by finding and using some of the validation systems that are out there. I've included a couple of links in our folder that we can use right off the bat. If we go back down to our Chapter 10 folder, we've got links in here for a couple of different validations, one that will validate your HTML, and another that you can use to validate your CSS file. Let's go to the HTML one first. This validation is offered by the WC3 organization, which is the one organization that's in charge of deciding and publishing what our HTML and CSS standards are. If your site's already up on the web, you can just put in the web address, but for our site, we can use the file upload feature. I'll make sure I've saved my changes to the index page, and I'll just click on Choose File so we can upload it. Navigate to your website project folder, find your index page, and when we click Check, the program's going to upload our page and tell us if there's anything wrong. As you can see, our document passed, but we did get one warning, so we can scroll down and see what that looks like. Here, the only warning is telling us that we're using HTML5 and we're using an experimental conformance checker. So for our document, that's really not a problem, and our code is all validated as okay. Now we can also validate our CSS sheet, and I can use the other URL file in here for that. I'll double-click on the CSS validation service URL, and we'll do the same thing. I'll upload our CSS file. We'll choose SF Tour Style CSS. Click the check button, and as you can see, we have no errors there as well. These validators are great because they can quickly spot small details like a misspelled tag or attribute name, or a space or a semicolon in the wrong place, and save you a lot of looking. Our results page does have a few warnings, and if I scroll down and take a look at them, you can see that it's giving me some advice on optimizing the number of styles that I have. In our styles, we've set the color in a number of different places. And if you change colors, you'll have to go change it in those places as well. So an optimized CSS style sheet might have one style rule containing the color change for many tags and classes. Of course, our style works just the way it is, and it's optional, but we can go back and clean up our style sheet and consolidate styles if we want to. It's up to you, but on a small site like this, it probably wouldn't save us much load time or make a big difference in the performance of our site in the browsers, so I'm going to leave it as it is. And that means we're ready to start thinking about putting our site up on the web.